Welcome back, guys. Jay Taylor here, Sports Prophecy TV, and we're here with another live video, guys. We're gonna break down this game: United States versus Jamaica. This is the worst nightmare matchup for both teams. I don't think any of these teams would have wanted to play each other in their first matchup in this 2023 Concacaf Gold Cup competition, because this game right here, it's gonna basically set the pace. It's gonna kick off the competition in such a tough way. These two teams haven't really played each other in a while. Jamaica versus United States in the first matchup of the Gold Cup, this is unheard of. I don't know how the scheduling was like. I don't know who organized this and set up this game. Usually these two teams would potentially play the last game in the group stage to basically have a showdown or kind of a final for the group stage. Because if one of these teams, however, if one of these teams lose this game, it's going to put so much pressure on both teams continuing in the group phase, because now this is also going to give the two lower teams in the group a chance to basically knock out one of these top teams. But because let's say the United States beat Jamaica, or Jamaica beat the United States, no, one of these teams cannot drop any more points to those lower tier teams coming in. Now we have Nicaragua, and we're going to potentially have a Curacao. So if any of these two teams lose this game and then draw another game in the group stage, it's over for one of these two teams. So I think this is a nightmare matchup. I don't think any of these two teams would have wanted to play each other so early in the competition. And this have now flipped the group on its head again. Now, both coaches, this gives both coaches something to think about. You can't just walk or cruise into this Gold Cup. Both teams will have to just hit the ground running, because now you're going to be playing a top team in this Gold Cup. How does Jamaica match up against the United States? At this point, we don't know how Jamaica matches up against the United States, because Jamaica is going through a rebuilding stage. We have a brand new head coach. The United States, however, is coming off a World Cup appearance, and sometimes teams tend to have what you call the World Cup hangover. And this is what something that Jamaica would be hoping for, where United States come out and they're not really kicking on like they were in the World Cup. A lot of times teams just competed in the World Cup, they tend to have a slow start in their international games. But if the United States comes out playing against this Jamaica team in the same form that they went into the World Cup or played in the World Cup, this is going to be a very, very hard game for Jamaica. And has now tossed the group on its head, because none of these two teams can lose this game and potentially draw another game in the group stage. Then one of these teams will be going home. We might see. So the best case scenario for these two teams is actually drawing the game, because if they draw the game, the two bottom teams are now going to be playing against each other. One of those two teams, if they win, they're going to be on 3 points, but the top teams are still on 1 point each. And when they then play those bottom teams, they can then beat those two teams and potentially end up with what would that be? 7 points. So this is a dangerous group. The whole seeding of the group and the whole draw of the group was already a bit dicey. Now the scheduling of this group has now made this group so complicated, because if the United States lose to Jamaica and let's say draw to Nicaragua, they're not going in with 3 points. And if Jamaica loses to the United States and draw with a Nicaragua or a Curacao, it's over. It's over and dusted. So both head coaches has to go to the drawing board now. I think more pressure would be on Jamaica, because this game is going to be at Soldier Field, which is a place that Jamaica has struggled before against the United States. And this is a home game for the USA. This is a home game. Um, Jamaican fans, I think this might also put a little damp in their spirits because we all thought that maybe we would have got one of the easier teams for the first game, and then we get that first 3 points to build up that momentum and then kind of kick on. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case, guys. They put the two top dogs up against each other in the first matchup. And this is going to be a game. This is going to be a clash of the Titans, Jamaica versus the USA. First match for both teams in the 2023 Concacaf Gold Cup. How is this game gonna shape up? Can the Jamaicans upset the United States? Is this the time where Jamaica finally turn that new page where they can beat a team like the United States? Or this is the time when Jamaica goes there and fold as we did in the past? I remember previous Gold Cups, the United States, they basically had a field day with us. They had a lot of ball possession. The World Cup qualifiers we had against the United States in the US, it didn't go so well for Jamaica. So I think the Jamaican team now is under more pressure as this is a home game for the USA. Soldier Field, home turf. Jamaica is still trying to figure out what kind of team we have, who is our starting lineup, who's going to be in our squad, while the United States is a bit more further along as they kind of know who they want to play, they know who played in the World Cup, and they know who they want to bring in. So the pressure is on the Reggae boys. The pressure is on the Reggae boys here, guys, but the pressure is also on the United States because it's just a pressure game overall. None of these two teams can drop the points in this game. So Jamaica, I'm not the type that wants teams to go out there to look for a draw. I think Jamaica should go for the win. But if the game starts to slow down and boil down to a point where we can get a draw, Jamaica should take that draw and get back to the drawing board, and then we try to feast on the smaller teams in the group. It's gonna be very dangerous if we go into an all-out affair with the USA and we lose this game 3-0, 4-1, and then when it comes down to goal differences in this group, it becomes a huge problem for us. So I think we should set up very tight, very structured, and try to get this game going. Big up yourself, Kevin Williams. Let me know what you think about Jamaica playing against the USA in the first matchup. This is a tough matchup. I don't know if they did this as a highlight to just make the competition kick off with a bang. But I don't know who set up the scheduling. But I don't know. Jamaica is gonna have a tough road now. Big up yourself, big up yourself. Know yourself. Let me know what you think about the game, guys. Let me know if you think Jamaica can pull this off. But I think Jamaica should play this one safe. I know the USA likes to have a lot of ball possession and they want to go for the win. I think Jamaica should set up more defensively in the first half of this game, kind of soak up that pressure, kind of take the life out of the crowd because the crowd is gonna affect this game. Big up yourself, Marcus Messiah Garvey. Let me know, Marcus, if you think this is a trap game for Jamaica. I think we have to take the home crowd fans out of this game very early by taking the steam out of the game, by being solid defensively. And it's going to come down to the players that Jamaica select for this squad. Because let's say we have a Demari Gray on the left, Leon Bailey on the right. These are two players who likes to attack, and we can't have them just try to attack the USA team first off when we don't have a, a, a squad that's very structured. Big up yourself, Ian Campbell. USA versus Canada in the quarterfinal is my prediction. Big up Richard Green. Let me know, Ian Campbell. I think this is gonna be a tough game for both teams. I think this is a trap game for both teams. This is almost a finals. Can you believe it, guys? Jamaica is basically playing a finals in their first game. This is almost a finals. This could have been a potential Gold Cup final, and this is the first game. How is Jamaica going to go out there? Let me know, guys. if we're going to go into this game safe, or we go into this game wanting to attack the United States. Let me know if you think we should go into this game safe. And we have to fix this CDM position. We're gonna play the United States, guys. This reality is just kicking in. We're gonna play the United States. We can't have Ravel Morrison and Daniel Johnson playing the CDM position against a United States in our opening game for a World Cup qualifier. Marcus Messiah Garvey said we must go in with a game plan. Let me know what you think the game plan is. Is this game plan meaning we attack them, we press them high, or we play the low block press and try to soak up the pressure and basically try to remove home crowd advantage and try to get our foot in the game? Or you think we go out and approach it like any other game as if you want to win the game? Ian Campbell said Jamaica will beat USA in the first game. Watch and see. Wow. Wow, guys. Ian Campbell just came in off the white room. Ian Campbell, I don't know if you just left work or you take a sip of the white room, but Ian Campbell thinks that Jamaica will beat the United States, guys, in this first game. He is banking on Jamaica. Jamaica, who has a new head coach, who hasn't won any games in a long time, playing against a United States team that competed very well in the World Cup. They play teams like England. They held their own. How is this matchup going to be? Marcus says we want to win, but not by all costs. If we play to draw, we might lose. That's a very interesting comment by Marcus Garvey. That's a very interesting comment by Marcus Garvey. And as I stated, Marcus, that's where the danger lies in this game. If we go out there looking for the draw, I think we potentially lose the game. And if we go out there just off the bat looking for the win, I think we can lose the game badly. So I think we have to take an approach which is a balanced approach, meaning this is the first time I will say this on stream, or this is the first time I will say this in what like watching football. I think we need to take a watch and see approach for the first half by being very solid defensively, being very composed, see what the United States want to do. And this is a game that we also cannot start a player like we cannot start a player like we can't start a player like Javane Brown. So we have Penny Cook with us on the stream, guys. I just added Penny Cook. Can you hear me, Penny?
Yeah, man.
Penny, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. This is Penny Cook, guys, straight out of New York. Penny, what do you think? How you think Jamaica shapes up in this first game against the United States? How should Jamaica approach this game? Because this game,
You're in the
a
matrix. You're in the
final.
matrix. You're not hearing it clearly. In the matrix. It's cutting out.
I'm cutting out. Can you hear me better?
No, it's you have that sound.
Guys, let me know in the comment section if you're hearing me clearly, guys, or is it Penny Cook who is not hearing me clearly? Let me know, guys. Are you hearing me clearly? Are you hearing me
Yeah,
clearly, guys?
you hearing me clearly? Because I
I'm
hear the
hearing you.
question clearly.
Yeah, I'm hearing you perfectly fine. I'm hearing you perfectly fine.
But your one cutting in and out. Your one is going in and out.
Mine is going in
So I'm
and
not
out.
getting
Guys,
the full question.
okay, I have the same feeling I had Jamaica. All right, Penny, just I'm gonna remove you and you come back. All right. Let's just see if we fix that. Loud, they're hearing both of us loud and clear. So you're the one who's not hearing me, Penny. All right,
I
Penny.
didn't get that.
They're hearing. All right, just jump off and jump back on, Penny. All right. So guys, all right. Ian Campbell says I have the same feeling I had when Jamaica played USA in 1997 and drew 1-1. We were pumped up for that game and matched play for play. Let's bring back Penny. Penny Cook, can you hear me, Penny? Are you hearing me any better? Penny, can you hear me? I think something is wrong with yeah, I'm hearing him loud and clear, but he's not hearing me. Penny, you have to leave the stream and come back. You have to basically leave the stream and then come back. Yeah, so Ian Campbell is very confident that Jamaica will get the win. Leave the stream. Will get the win. I think it's gonna be a very tough game, guys. I think it's gonna be a very tough game. I think it's gonna be a very tough game because this game, as I said, this game could have potentially be a finals game where Jamaica played the United States in the finals, and now this is the first matchup. And guys, the next team that qualifies for this group stage, the team that qualifies for this group stage is going to be it's going to be another, it's going to flip the group on its head again. Because if this is a Curacao, or let's say, I don't know if Haiti can get into this group, or Haiti's are, no, I think Haiti's already in. Curacao is that team outside on the fringe. That's another dangerous team. I don't want a Curacao in this group now. We don't want a Curacao in this group now. We need to get another softball team in this group. We're playing the champions. We have to get, we're playing a team that just left the World Cup and had good performances. We are playing a team that had the youngest team in the World Cup, guys. I know that as Reggae Boys fans, we are very confident, but we have to take in mind that we don't have a team as yet. We don't have a team that's structured. Like the United States know their team. We can almost predict who's going to start for the United States, barring one or two players getting switched up. But Jamaica, we're still planning on calling in players for this game. So this game is going to be how Jamaica selects the squad. It's going to be a very dicey thing. And I think Coach Heimar Hallgrimson, no, is probably sitting there thinking like, oh my God, how can you start your coaching tenure with a team by starting off against Argentina, Cameroon, who did we just play? Mexico, and now we're playing the United States. He's basically just being birthed like the man get a bath of fire. Basically, this coach has taken up a team that his first 5 games are some of the toughest opponents, not just in the region, in the world. The coach started off his tenure as a Jamaican head coach, coaching against the team that won the World Cup. And now he has to start the competition against a team that competed very well in the World Cup. It doesn't get any better than that, guys. This is football. And that's the thing about football. There's no mercy in football. Football is not about who can pray best to God, because God hears everybody's prayer. So at the end of the day, prayer not going to save Jamaica, and prayer not going to save the United States in this game. It's going to be the best team on the day, the team that's the most disciplined. Because if you, I think the coach, what I'm very confident with this Jamaican coach is something that he said when he went and looked at the USA in the World Cup. He thought they were overly aggressive, and he thought that they basically tried a lot of things outside of what they should have done. And I think this is something that this coach is going to take and maybe try to use that to find the weakness in this United States team. Because if you looked at his press conference, he stated that the United States was a bit overconfident in some of the games and they went after the game. I keep going back to when the head coach was coaching Iceland, and right before they played the Netherlands, he came up with something where he stated that the Dutch team made 60% of their passes in their own half, and he recognized that. So he went in with a game plan for Iceland where where he kept them in their own half. He kept the Dutch in their own half and let them play in their own half. And when they lose the ball, Iceland took the ball and scored and won that game. I thought that was a brilliant move. And we need a strategy like this for this game. Let's hear what Richard Green says. JT, we basically know our team. Do we really know our team? I think we do know a majority of the core players now. We do know a majority of the core players, but we also know that there are pieces that are missing. Remember in the last game, Javane Brown was having a Javane Brown game, which is typically just a headless chicken running around in the right back position. We had a young man, Lambasika, came in and claimed his stake. But as I said again, guys, Concacaf is one of the toughest regions to adapt to. The game stops and starts a lot, where the referees tend to take over the game and blow the whistle a lot and slow down the game and stop the game. So if a player like Lambasika, he only had two international football games, one friendly and one official game. So it's going to be a game now where he's going to be tested. But one thing I'm happy about is that the United States can't just look at Jamaica and say, okay, Javane Brown is going to be at the right back position. We're going to attack Jamaica at the right back position. I'm so happy that Javane Brown won't be starting, because every time Jamaica plays, teams just look at Javane Brown and say, okay, that's the weak link. Now we got a player like Lambesico who showed his stuff against Mexico, and he showed that he is very competent and he's very capable at that right back position. This now makes the United States has to think about breaking down Jamaica overall, not just breaking down Jamaica down on the right side where Javane Brown was the weak link. Marcus Garvey states that I think we will see the same starting 11 from Mexico with addition of the CDM that came on in the Mexico game. And Marcus Garvey, I'm hoping that we start that game with a CDM, because if we don't start that game with a proper CDM, this will be a repeat of the game at the National Stadium with Jamaica versus Panama. Jamaica versus Panama. That was the game where Ravel Morris and Daniel Johnson in the middle of the park. If we play against because listen, Mexico attacks you differently. Mexico likes to switch the ball all the way across the field. If you try to shut them down on one side, they switch the ball across the field and try to attack you down the next flank. They don't try. Mexico doesn't really attack teams straight down the middle. They switch the ball and come off the edge of the 18 at an angle. The United States team, however, will try to break Jamaica down directly straight down the middle. And if we don't have a CDM in the middle of the park, I promise you that Jamaica will lose this game handedly. I promise you, if we don't start with a CDM, so if we get it right, I rather we start this game with two CDM. I would listen. This is one of the few games that I would go into defensively. And I'm not a defensive-minded fan. My own reason for this is because it's our first game in this competition, and it's a home game for the United States, and we don't want to lose our first game by 2 or 3 goals and then we are at a goal deficit. Marcus Garvey says we need Greg Lee. Ian Campbell said Dexter is a classy defender and Bell is also a good defender. Facts there. Those are two classy defenders. But I also think, as what Marcus Garvey said, Greg Lee should be in this squad. We should have Greg Lee in this squad because we need that depth. I don't want to see a Amari Bell limping off and then we see a Kemar Taxi Lawrence filling in at the left back position, because I think um, I don't think Taxi Lawrence can withstand this USA pressure. And I think they basically have Taxi Lawrence figured out. I think they know how Kemar Taxi Lawrence played already. So I want more depth at the left back position. So I would hope that Greg Lee is in this team. Um, Richard Green said, "Don't worry, we have John Tussle." Well, yeah, Russell, I'm hoping that this young man starts. This is the game, but not only that, guys. This is why these friendlies are going to be so important. These two friendlies that Jamaica is going to play is going to be two of our most important friendlies we have ever played. because these two friendlies are going to determine who our players are going to be, who our starting team is going to be. It's going to determine what form we're in going into the Gold Cup, and it's going to tell us where we are as a team. So there's a lot hinging on the two preparation games that Jamaica is going to play for the United States. And now maybe the coach has to go back to the drawing board and the JFF. Do we need to play Chile for our preparation game? I know Chile is a good competition, but does Chile prepare us to play against the United States? Let me know, guys, which team you think we should play instead of Chile that would prepare us most for the United States game. Because now, with this schedule, it just changed everything. The schedule has now changed everything, where Jamaica is going to play the United States at Soldier Field in the first game of the 2023 Gold Cup. This is madness, guys. This is madness. So we have to prepare for this game. We can't just go to a 1 week camp and we see videos coming out on Instagram and we're saying the boys look sharp. There's camaraderie in the camp. That doesn't work, guys. Ravel Marcy is not playing football. That doesn't work. We need game time. We need to know who our team is. In going into the second warm-up game, we should know who our team is. The first warm-up game, we will see who are the players that we need to get out and see who the players that we need to get in there. No, Corey Burke. Guys, I thought Corey Burke had a very good cameo in that Mexico game. I thought Corey Burke had a very good cameo in that Mexico game. Not a big fan of Corey Burke. I think he's on the back end of his career. However, this United States game, I would think about Corey Burke. I would think about Corey Burke and a Mikel Antonio if we're going with a 4-4-2. My reason is this. I don't want Mikel Antonio doing a lot of the running because he's just coming back off injury. I would want Corey Burke basically chasing the football, pressing the United States in the first half, basically putting their defenders under pressure and kind of even out the game. What I wouldn't want is we set up like we set up in the Mexico game, where it's Shamar Nicholson and he's up front trying to win the long ball. I'm sorry, I would think about Corey Burke as a starter in this game. And that's madness coming from myself. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. But the actual cameo that Corey Burke played against Mexico, I saw a level of bravery from Corey Burke. He seemed like he was ready to attack the Mexicans. He wasn't afraid. A player like Jamal Lowe, he's very calm. He's very composed. One of my favorite reggae boys. He's very calm, very composed. But I don't know if he's going to have enough of the football for Jamal Lowe to be able to affect a game against the United States in the first half. So I would go with a Corey Burke, a Mikel Antonio up front, Demari Gray on the left, Leon Bailey on the right, Ravel Morris in the center, and a Jonathan Russell as the CDM. And then you have Damian Lowe, Ethan Pinnock in the center back position, Amari Bell on the left, and Lambesika on the right. I think that's a solid defense, giving you enough to defend and enough to attack, because now you would have two big, strong center forwards up front who's now battling with the USA and the United States defenders. But you also have a player like Ravel Marciano who can flow a bit more in the midfield and provide that final pass for the attackers. So I would go with Corey getting that nod and give him a job to do in a specific way, how we would want him to press. Marcus Garvey said, when Corey Burke is given a task to do, he plays better than allowing him. I totally agree. And remember the last Gold Cup, guys. Corey Burke, I think, scored in the first game. I think Corey Burke had a very good start to his last Concacaf Gold Cup. So I would start Corey Burke in this game, as Marcus Garvey said, and I would give him a job. I would give him a job. I would say, Corey Burke, what I need you to do, I need you to do the Rome pressing. meaning you and Mikel Antonio needs to coordinate, but you're doing majority of the running in the first half. And if he breaks down, then we bring in someone else in the second half. But you need an intense player in the team in that first half against the USA. I think Shamar Nicholson is very calm. He's very composed, but I don't think for this game it's going to work the way we need it to work. So I wouldn't start Shamar Nicholson in this game as my leading striker. It would be Mikel Antonio and Corey Burke, Jonathan Russell and Ravel Marsa in the center of the park, and then try to just have some balance between defending and balance, because I want Ravel Marsa to be, I hope as well in the warm-up games we get to see Ravel Marson higher up the park. We need to start playing with this player higher up the park so he can start to get that chemistry with his strikers, knowing where they're going to make those runs, where they're going to peel off defenders to make that deadly final pass. We need to get that combination going now. No more Ravel Marsa playing the CDM position. He's just not that kind of player. Marcus Messiah Garvey say a Japan friendly would be ideal for us to prepare. I totally agree with that, Marcus Garvey, but I also have to take into consideration traveling, playing a team like Japan. It can be a long travel time for the players, and we don't want to break down the players traveling to Japan, because Jamaica is not going to get a home game for our two warm-up games based on what the president of the JFF has stated, that the games are probably going to be overseas. But what we don't want Jamaica to do is travel to Africa or travel to the all the way to Asia, because if Jamaica travels to Japan, bro, that's almost 24 hours, or travel to Australia. We can't have that. So a team, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, a team that would be best for Jamaica to play as the warm-up game that um, mirrors the USA. Maybe we can play, I don't know, a team like, maybe we can play a team like Iceland. Who knows, guys? Maybe we can play a team like Iceland. Maybe the coach should try to get a team like Iceland, or a team like Denmark, or a team like Sweden, or a team like Norway. Play one of those Scandinavian teams, because those teams play very balanced. They attack you very well and they defend very well. And a flight to Scandinavia is only 10 hours. And a lot of players are already in Europe. It's an hour and a half from England to Scandinavia. So you would only fly the players in from the USA, which is a 9-hour flight to Europe. So I think we probably should get a game against a Scandinavian opponent. A South American, because I don't think the Central American team, I don't think Nicaragua now is going to determine this group. It's the teams that are going to determine this group is this first game, guys. This first game, USA versus Jamaica, determines Group A. It comes down to this game. How it's unbelievable. Jamaica is basically playing a semi-final or a quarterfinal or a finals game in their first match in the Gold Cup. And this is going to be a game, possibly a game to remember. If we could get a Japan in the New Jersey, in New Jersey. Yeah, if we could get Japan in New Jersey, well, if they could agree to fly over to New Jersey, because then I think there are going to be other FIFA competitions and football games coming up in that FIFA window when the Gold Cup is being played. So in the window before that, we have to get a good friendly, guys. I no longer think that Jamaica should look at a Uruguay or a Chile as our warm-up game just because of the style of play. I don't think those two teams would prepare Jamaica the way we want to prepare to play against the United States. Guys, we have to find, I think the JFF now has to go back to the drawing board. Seeing that scheduling, the JFF has to go back to the drawing board and find two better opponents who can now get Jamaica up to speed. Let me know in the comment section, guys, which two teams you think would fit Jamaica in those warm-up games to basically help us and give us the best push for our preparation for the Concacaf Gold Cup. Because I think now we have to be strategic. The Reggae Boys has to be strategic in every way now. These two warm-up friendlies are no longer just warm-up friendlies. These two warm-up friendlies are like the first two games that Jamaica is going to be playing in the Gold Cup, basically. Because we need to, after those two games, we have to hit the ground running. There's no going into the Gold Cup and beat up the little teams and then you warm up to play the United States. That's not it. No, you're going to be playing the United States as you land. Soldier feel when you know the USA fans bring out the drums and they start revving it up in the stadium. It's going to be an atmosphere, guys. It's going to be an atmosphere. And something we have to remember when Jamaica plays the USA, the referees for these games tend to be very strict and very dynamic. They seem to be very trigger happy when it comes to dishing out red cards or bringing out that card because the USA fans have a way of how they push referees. I remember in the World Cup qualifiers, one of our players, I think it was maybe Kemar Lawrence, he committed a foul and I don't remember if that game had VAR, but that game that foul was under a lot of scrutiny, and we were so lucky not to have 10 players in that game against the United States. So we have to think about that. Damian Lowe as well. Damian Lowe has to be a bit more composed in his way of tackling because he gets a bit hyped up and a bit revved up when it comes to those kind of big games. So we need our Ethan Pinnock. I'm not worried about Ethan Pinnock. He plays more with brains than aggression. But that's a game as well where also Corey Burke, as I said, I want Corey Burke to start. But I also need the coach to let Corey Burke know that, listen, Corey Burke, this is not a kung fu movie. This is not a karate movie. I don't need you to kick down anybody. We need to also let Corey Burke know that because he is Corey Burke, you know, he is a little potential red card. Corey Burke has that in him. Corey Burke has the potential to make those rash tackles. But I would, however, still start Corey Burke over Shamar Nicholson in this game because it's the first game and Jamaica wouldn't have the chance to get 3 points from beating a Nicaragua or a Curacao. Ian Campbell thinks that Jamaica should play Brazil in our warm-up game. Brazil, playing Brazil in our warm-up game. That's, I don't know if Jamaica wants to play Brazil because another thing in your warm-up game, you don't want Jamaica to play a team where we end up getting a thrashing by 5 or 6 goals, and then that's starting to affect the confidence and the morale of the players. So we don't want to play Brazil. To be honest, Ian Campbell. So Ian, there are statements and rumors coming out of the JFF that Chile was one of the teams that Jamaica is slated to play. No, I'm thinking that because we're going to be playing the United States in our first game, I think the JFF needs to rethink this friendly. I think we have to rethink this friendly. And not only that, I think the coach should start preparing the squad for these friendlies already. Early preparation, guys. PPP. We needed proper preparation. We need to get that right this time around. We saw what proper lack of proper preparation did for us in the last. Sorry, guys, messed that up. You saw what it did for us in the last Gold Cup. We need a better midfielder. Kevin Williams said Ravel Morrissey is a potential red card as well. Yes. Why I would say that Ravel Morris is a potential red card is because Ravel Morris is not playing football. And the problem that I noticed with Ravel Morrissey is when Ravel Morrissey is not playing football, he's on the ground a lot. He's making a lot of slide tackles to compensate for his lack of match sharpness, and his fitness. I noticed that with Ravel Morrison. He has that a lot in him, where he starts slide tackling a lot. That's why I think to solve that. But the reason for that is you have Ravel Morrison playing a defensive midfield role as a CDM. We can't have Ravel Morrison doing that. I need Ravel Morrison to be a marquee and an expansive player. I need Ravel Morrison to be stringing those passes in the attacking third. I don't want the play to build up through Ravel Marcel in front of our 18. I want Ravel Marcel to be in the center of the park, in the center circle. Jonathan Russell is then connecting the defense with the midfield, and Ravel Marcel makes those by dispensing the ball to our strikers. Let me know, guys. Would you start? What's your starting lineup? Is Damari Gray the one gonna start on the left? Is it Leon Bailey? Are we gonna get Omari Hutchinson? Do you think Omari Hutchinson should be called up for this game? I think Omari Hutchinson should be called up for this game, and this is because Ravel Morrison doesn't have the proper game time in him right now. And I think Ravel Morrison, Omari Hutchinson is a like for like player. They're both two kind of players who tends to trigger the play, make that run, open up space, and get the team moving. And if we're not getting that out of Ravel Morrison in the first half, we have to look to Omari Hutchinson, maybe around the hour mark or the midpoint of the game. So I think it is intricate. It's very important to get Omari Hutchinson in the squad. DJ Jigsy Hype says Ravel and Johnson too slow for me in the midfield. Yeah, I agree with you there, Jigsy. I don't think those two players should be playing the CDM role. You cannot take two attacking midfield players and try to turn them into one CDM. It's just not what football requires, because that position, it takes a certain mindset. It takes a player who enjoys breaking up plays. It takes a player who understands the scope of seeing the whole entire field. Anticipation. It takes a player who anticipates where the pass is going to come from, where his defenders are, and how to cover and how to shut down the lanes. I think when you have two attacking midfielders, muscle memory and basically their intentions is always going to be to go forward. So they're going to be out of position. They're going to be out of position. So we have to start for Jamaica to get a good result from this game. We have to start a CDM in this game. This cannot be the game where Jamaica goes out there with a makeshift CDM or go out there with two attacking midfielders and try to turn them into one box-to-box or one CDM. This is not the game for this kind of experiment. However, we will have two friendlies before the Gold Cup, and these two friendlies should be the game where the coach experiment with all the possibilities and everything that he thinks we should do in this game, guys. And thank you guys for tuning in. Just hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Just started up the channel and I'll be putting out content. As you can see, I'll be going live every day, once per day. But I also want to keep the discussion on Sports Prophecy TV strictly on football. I want to talk about football, strategies, tactics, and how we play. I watch all the other channels, and I think some channels are there for specific reasons, and we let some channels do this. We have, Ryan put the pressure on the JFF. JD breaks down statistics of players. Simon gives you the new players. Military gives you the locals. Manningsman give you a mixture of, corporate / players. I want to give you football. I want to stick on the game. I want to talk about the players, how we're going to play, how we're going to set up, how we want to get the best results. This is what this channel will be based on, because we all can't just be doing the same thing. I want to bring some value to the space. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We have been here for 44 minutes, and I really appreciate it. And see you guys until then. Sports Prophecy TV, JT